Yesterday's celebration of Elon Musk's Twitter takeover in the rearview mirror as questions now abound over how he's going to handle sole ownership of what he calls free speech's public square. And then news this afternoon, just in the last 2 hours, that at least one ratings agency will scrutinize the deal and could downgrade the stock. And again, he's taking it private. But keep in mind, right now it's still public. Shares are down 2.9%, standing at $50.18. User privacy, monitoring illegal activity, banning users for banned content. The EU even chiming in, warning Musk that new Twitter will have to abide by its strict rules still. Musk did tweet moments ago, we just got this up for the first time today, saying, quote, "The extreme antibody reaction from those who fear free speech says it all." And then, you know what also says a lot here? Look at Tesla shares. We have the shares of Musk's EV giant down 10.3% right now as investors fret over whether the visionary CEO might be distracted by his new role as sole owner of the social media giant. Doesn't help the situation that the Twitter deal involved Musk using 62.5 million Tesla shares as collateral. Now, with the broader markets buckling, well, as we showed you, the VIX and the entire energy complex are spiking. Let's bring in the floor show. One of the top tech analysts in the nation, Wedbush Managing Director of Equity Research, Yigal Arounian, and trader Dutch Masters is joining us. Yigal, I need the macro picture here first on the NASDAQ and this sell-off of tech. What is going on here?
Well, it's just a continuation of what we've seen over the past couple of months, and that's, as you alluded to in the lead-in here, there's just a lot of questions around the environment that stretches from China rising cases and lockdowns to inflation and rising rates and the health of the consumer here. I think we're going to get a real good read into that this week with a lot of the digital advertisers and social media giants reporting, as well as big tech. It's just a lot of concern in a lot of different pockets right now. Yeah, and when you start to see, for example, Microsoft down 2%. 2% seems to be the play here for a lot of these tech names, actually down 2.5% off the lows of the session. Google Alphabet down 2%. We've got Apple lower by about 2.7% right now. Is this a little disconcerting, or do you look at this and say, you know what, this is just part of what is natural, especially considering that we do have a lot of people calling for a recession, and you also have the question as to whether the economy and the markets can expand at the same time that we have stubborn inflation, Yigal? Yeah, well, that's the big debate right now, and I think the fears that inflation is going to overweigh everything else, that rates are just going to keep going up because of where inflation is. You can keep tying on these risks of Beijing shutting down and supply chain risks. That's only going to put more pressure on inflation. The war in Ukraine is putting more pressure on inflation, and so the question is, what does it take for the Fed to finally tame it? And I think there's a lot of concern over that. Right now, the labor market's still strong. People are getting a lot of jobs. They're getting better salaries. That's a good thing for economy, but at the same time, also putting pressure on inflation. So there's just a lot going on right now. Yeah, Dutch, when you look at some of the laggard leaders here, the worst of a really rough day, Nike and Boeing. So Nike to me is interesting, down 5%. This is the Dow laggard here. This is a consumer fear question, is it not? And where are you seeing opportunity at this moment?
Well, if you recall, actually, Liz, I was on the show about 9 trading days ago, and I mentioned that we were short the Qs, and you had said to me, well, you remember that? Yeah. And by the way, it's good to see you, and it's great that you have traders on, because we have to make money in every environment, right? Up or down. So we were short the Qs, and you asked me whether we thought that value was going to outperform, and I said we kind of don't look at the world that way, and what we were really seeing out there was, one by one, the industries that we were making money in, the sectors we were making money in, fertilizer, marine shipping, and coal and things like that, were being shut down, not performing anymore. So we kind of got to a point where we were left with nothing but looking for shorts. We went short the SPXU. We went short the S&P 500 a few days ago. We actually went last night, on the 21st, we came out with what we called our market crash alert. We never use that word. We never say there's going to be a crash. We think that's always kind of a joke. But what we are seeing since the 21st is actually a crash in slow motion.
Okay, can I just ask you, so you said we went short the SPXU. You mean you bought the SPXU, because that, of course, is the ProShares ultra short S&P, and it is now up 6 1/3%. And you look like you're in the money if you shorted the S&P like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you're right.
Okay.
You're absolutely right. The SPXU is an inverse to the S&P 500.
Yes.
So we bought that, and we bought it hard, and we bought it on margin, and we kept buying. Even though it was going down yesterday, we kept buying and kept buying. And
Okay.
you know, I went to bed last night, and I actually kind of said, well, tomorrow I'm either going to be a hero or a chump.
Yeah. Well, speaking of yesterday versus today, as in tomorrow, Igal, Twitter was up about 5.7% at this hour yesterday, closed up that much, and you can see that it's lost a good chunk of that. You know, this is a company that's going to go private eventually, but are we thinking too much about it? It's now down 3% to $50.05. And then there's the Tesla question, not to mention all the other tech that swirls around it. What's going on when you think about the Elon Musk deal here?
There's a lot going on. You know, there's a question of what Twitter looks like in the future under his control. You know, there's a lot of questions about what it looks like, and I don't think we really have all the answers there. But Elon's obviously put a big chunk of his wealth behind this, and I think he has real ambitions for how he wants to change it, and it's going to have to work financially too. Otherwise, you know, the wealth that he's put behind it is going to be challenged in the near term until we close that deal. Obviously, you're seeing today Tesla shareholders concerned with what's going on.
Yeah.
He's put up a lot of his Tesla shares, his SpaceX shares as collateral. Questions about what happens if the share price of Tesla drops too much. Does he have to put up more? So, you know, I'm not that I don't expect this deal to close, but there's a lot that can happen between now and when it does. And then once it does, there's even more. So there's a lot to kind of unpack and see what happens.
Yeah, there's a lot happening today. Dutch, good trade. Igal, great to have you.